10. Who are they? Freemasonry and Rosicrucian order. You hear it often, they. There's even a movie made about them, They Live, where they are destroyed when the protagonist takes down the media. The word comes up time and time again when people are talking about conspiracy-related matters, something that is commonly wrongfully called conspiracy theory, when the things being discussed are truly conspiracy fact. So many people who have conspiracy-related conversations see the wrongdoing in the world, and the scapegoats blamed for the wrongdoing, such as men in caves, anorexic teens packing more heat than Rambo, MIT brothers with backpacks posing on the cover of Rolling Stone, and disgruntled $100 per hand poker players in Las Vegas, just to name a few. But they aren't certain who is pulling the strings and creating the mass confusion and chaos, because the responsible parties are something like the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, operating out of sight of the general public. This leads to many people accusing the wrongdoers of being the entity known as they. That is about to change, however, because who they are is very clear once you know the code, and for the record, a conspiracy theory is deemed to be something that has no actual or evidence basis. Thus, what you are reading in this book could never be considered as such, since everything within is evidence-based and well-supported, and only going to become more and more supported with each passing page. Let us begin identifying who they are and what they are about with the term conspiracy theory, a derogatory term to dismiss the truth seeker and speaker. That is the creation of they. It was a term coined by Richard Hofstadter, a public intellectual historian and professor at Columbia University, and a term pushed by the CIA, CCIA document 1035-960, released in 1976 with the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, in parentheses. After the very numerological assassination of Kennedy, November 22, 1963, which happened in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd Scottish Rite Freemason, not unlike Abraham Zapruder, who was also of the 33rd degree, and is remembered for making the assassination film of the 35th president from that very memorable date, 11/22. For a little Gematria practice, why don't you take a moment to decode Kennedy with the reduction method to see how nicely it goes with the collection of number 33s hidden in plain sight. And in light of JFK being the 35th president, the lone Catholic president to date, decode the name of the religion with the same reduction method as well to see how they jive. If you want to take it a step further, decode the name of the same religion with the reverse reduction method, and notice how it corresponds with his age of death, 46 years, and the number of books in the Old Testament of the Catholic Bible, which is 46 in count. Of course, with Gematria being a biblical code from the Torah, it is important to note Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice, a word having reduction Gematria of 46. And in Hebrew, both murder and kill equate to number 46 as well. When you decode Kennedy and Catholic, you won't be disappointed, but you will be collecting some mounting evidence of who they are and how they operate, a pile you'll soon need a secretary to help keep in order. Before I prove to you that Freemasonry in high places, including the U.S. federal government and Catholic Church, is who they are and who they have been since before the United States even existed, I want to show you what happened to this man, Richard Hofstadter, used by the CIA to push the term conspiracy theory, a term that has had a profoundly negative impact on all those who quest for truth. All my good people who speak truth know how it is from the sleeping masses, or what I call the American dreamers here in the States. When you speak truth to the zombie-like masses, you'll hear it 9 times out of 10. What are you, some kind of conspiracy theorist? When I was 18, I used to explain to people that it didn't make sense that they could not recover the plane parts or bodies from the wreckage sites of September 11, 2001. But somehow they reported recovering terrorist passports, box cutter knives, and even turbans. those logical points would be greeted with the same programmed responses, ranging from conspiracy theorists to mom's basement to tinfoil hat, and right on down the line by almost everyone. I told my family and friends who would listen then, I think the people of this land are under some sort of magical spell, not unlike a tale from a Disney film. At the same time, I'd tell those who gave the brain-dead robotic replies to my logical and truthful points, no, and are you some kind of coincidence theorist? In the near future, I intend to put out a t-shirt with the coincidence theorist slogan, so you can hand them out to these people when they cross your path. I'm telling you now, I'm going to have to print a lot. As for Richard Hofstadter, the man who coined the divisive and played-out term conspiracy theory, he died October 24, 1970, a date with the right kind of numerology for being remembered for tarnishing the truth about conspiracy, and for being used as a CIA asset. He also died 79 days after his August 6th birthday, a distance in days corresponding with the ordinal gematria of the word murder, something you'll learn a lot more about in the chapter on murder by numbers. The number 79 also connects to the label conspiracy. What is a person who supports conspiracy theory? Even better, he died at age 54, relatively young, and a number perfectly corresponding with the initials JFK, as well as the gematria of Dealey Plaza, and Jesuit order, the latter of which are the Masonic killers within the Catholic Church, known by historians to be connected to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln and more. Again, Hofstadter's conspiracy theory term was derived in connection to the people who were questioning the government's Warren Commission findings and the media's reporting on the death of JFK from the infamous day in history. Let us now examine the date numerology for October 24, 1970, which breaks down to both 123 and 51, because those two numbers point directly to the gematria of conspiracy. 10/24/1970 equals 10 plus 24 plus 19 plus 70 equals 123. 10/24/1970 equals 10 plus 24 plus parentheses 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 0 parentheses equals 51. In ordinal gematria, conspiracy sums to 123, not unlike the breakdown of ABC, which is how simple this code is that they operate by. Can I get a little Jackson 5? And yes, Michael Jackson was reported dead by the code. Also, in reduction gematria, conspiracy sums to 51, same as Freemason, when S is made to be 10, and same as federal in ordinal gematria. Think about Area 51, the federal government territory specifically associated with conspiracy in the 47th state. Even better, the common stereotype tinfoil hat shares 51 gematria just the same. And for an even bigger laugh, Reynolds Wrap aluminum foil was released as a new consumer product in 1947, the same year as the UFO landing in New Mexico, the 47th state. And yes, UFO news in the mainstream has always been the work of they, reported by the numbers. As we progress, you'll see just how many connections there are between the Freemasons and the various terminology pertaining to conspiracy through the language of gematria, a largely Masonic language. This is no coincidence. The Masonic network at the top controls this world with conspiracy, and that is exactly why they have programmed the masses to balk at the word, so as not to even consider the truth. In case you are not certain of what a conspiracy is, it is a secret plan to do something harmful or unlawful. Think about that within the context of Freemasonry, a secret society. Conspiracy equals 123 ordinal. Conspiracy equals 51 reduction. Tinfoil hat equals 51 reduction. Freemason equals 51 reduction. S equals 10. Federal equals 51 ordinal. Let us not forget that Washington, D.C., the headquarters of the federal government, is also the headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Very quickly, notice the overlap with Scottish Rite, conspiracy, and coincidence. Scottish Rite equals 57 reduction. Conspiracy equals 57 reverse reduction. Coincidence equals 57 reduction. Tinfoil hat equals 57 reverse reduction. As we advance through the remaining chapters, I will enlighten you of what coincidence theory programming is. With every major propaganda event contrived in the media, a number of coincidences to go with are contrived for the gullible audience. In recent years, a clear example of these tactics was the story of the Mormon missionary, Mason Wells, who reportedly survived the April 15, 2013 Boston Marathon bombing hoax, the Friday, November 13, 2015 Paris terror attack false flag, and the March 22, 2016 Brussels, Belgium bombing hoax. If you are not familiar with this story, please look it up and please don't overlook the name Mason. If you decode Friday the 13th, you'll also notice it sums to 223 in ordinal Gematria, not unlike March 22, 3 date of the Belgium attack. Again, Masonic and Jewish Gematria equates to 223, and the Synagogue of Satan sums to the same number in ordinal. Masonic equals 74 ordinal, Mormon equals 74 reverse ordinal. Mormon Church is based in Freemasonry. Mason Wells equals 74 reverse reduction, E equals 22. In the next chapter, you'll learn how George Washington himself was murdered by the code, not uncommon. Even for members of the fraternity, consider George Washington reverse reduction sums to 74, just the same as Masonic and killing in ordinal Gematria. And at the same time, as mentioned, the word murder sums to 79 in ordinal Gematria, and conspiracists total 79 in reverse reduction Gematria, matching the amount of days after Richard Hofstadter's birthday to his death. As you'll discover, all celebrities who have bitten the dust prematurely have done so by this code, and it has always been synced with their respective birthdays from overdoses to plane crashes. Even more, the date of Richard's passing also had a numerology connection to 34, which corresponds with murder just the same using the reduction cipher. Murder equals 79 ordinal, conspiracist equals 79 reverse reduction. Murder equals 34 reduction, star, 10/24 equals 10 plus 24 equals 34. Richard's day of passing, October 24, also happens to be the day that leaves 68 days left in the year, not unlike his August 6th birthday, which can be expressed 6/8. Of course, in Gematria, CIA sums to 68. Speaking of which, in the year of 68, MLK and RFK, JFK's brother, would be killed by the numbers among others. That was also the year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began, and George W. Bush would graduate from Yale's Skull and Bones 33 years before 2001. Adding insult to injury, Bush's July 6th birthday, the 187th day of the year, is a span of 68 days from September 11. Don't forget his father was the head of the CIA before becoming the vice president and then president. Ahead, you'll also learn how Yale sums to 43 in ordinal and how Bush II was the 43rd president, pairing nicely with his brother being the 43rd governor of Florida, remembering the Florida recount that changed the outcome of the 2000 election from Gore winning to Bush, and his father being the 43rd vice president before becoming President Bush the first. Or was it King George the First? Not by chance, Masonic also shares the Gematria of 43 in reverse reduction. But now we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before we spoil too many goodies for chapters ahead, let's decode CIA, and while we're at it, let's decode Mom's Basement too. Since I'm pretty sure the CIA made this phrase stick with the mass media they largely own and operate, paid for with our tax dollars. Personally, despite never having lived in a home with a basement or with my mother since days after turning 18 years old, I have been told at least 1,000 times and counting to get out of my mom's basement, especially when I have shared the truth online. CIA equals 68 reverse ordinal. Mom's Basement equals 68 reverse reduction. As for Richard Hofstadter's passing at age 54, the Gematria of JFK, Dealey Plaza, and Jesuit Order are as follows. JFK equals 54 reverse reduction. Freemasonic equals 54 reduction. Dealey Plaza equals 54 reverse reduction. Jesuit Order equals 54 reduction. Mr. Hofstadter's cause of death was reported as cancer, which is a common cause of death for people murdered by the numbers. Who would think twice about it in a world where thousands perish this way daily? In terms of conspiracy, the way we are fed which is the predominant reason for the rampant rates of cancer in the United States and elsewhere, is one of the largest conspiracies of all. And that shouldn't be any secret to anyone, seeing as how the U.S. federal government and its elected officials actively work to make sure we the people cannot even know what is in our food by passing legislation in Congress to achieve this information blackout. Think about it. This is a fact that most people are either oblivious to or shrug their shoulders at. Your elected officials, who you pay for, are working to make sure you cannot know what is in your food. Something tells me if we could find out what they are hiding, one of the ingredients we're not being told about is brain-dead retarded poisoning. And please don't start crying that you don't like the word retarded. The word means stunted, and if you're not an American dreamer, you should notice the people around you couldn't be any more intellectually stunted than they are. As they say, you are what you eat. Now, very quickly, let me show you something about the words cancer, chemo, and kill. It's all part of the build-up to the proof of who they are and what they are about. Before decoding, you should know that you don't cure your body with chemo radiation, which only kills more cells. You cure it with eating right. If you're not up on nutrition, you're in luck, because I am. The human body is designed to eat a plant-based diet, which is why we have the intestines and teeth of an herbivore. Remember this, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And yes, I am talking about meat and dairy consumption because animal protein kills slowly by clogging arteries and causing cancerous mutations within the body. What is documented scientific fact? Take a look at your fellow Americans. How many of them are obese with guts sticking out like a stuffed pillow? How many people are needlessly kneeling over from heart attacks? How many people have cholesterol rates twice the normal level? These are the clearly unhealthy results of eating an animal-based diet, with God knows what injected into them. Steroids, hormones, preservatives, and worse. Our bodies are not designed to metabolize efficiently or properly. In the wild, animals that eat meat can eat it raw, and they have short, direct intestinal tracts, unlike ours, which are long and anything but straight. Think about what happens to you if you try to eat raw meat. It is definite illness, potentially death. This is why Susan G. Komen loves to advertise with their pink ribbon on the products that give you cancer, such as beef and eggs. It is mockery. Keep eating what kills you and send us some more shekels so we can keep searching for the cure that was found a century ago. Mwahahaha. The cure is a plant-based diet. Kill equals 44 ordinal. Genocide equals 44 reduction. Cancer equals 44 ordinal. Chemo equals 44 ordinal. Star. JFK was the 35th president, but he was also the 44th term president. Speaking of they, just wait until we decode the name of the cancer charity fraud Susan G. Komen, the name of a woman who was supposedly diagnosed with breast cancer at age 33 and probably never even existed, an age matching the reduction gematria of ribbon. You'll find that her name in particular has gematria overlap with Freemasonry in 3 out of 4 base ciphers, plus connects to kill, just like cancer, and more. That shouldn't surprise considering the capital G right in the middle. 4 kicks, and because it relates, let's take a moment to decode the name of the false charity, which is only meant to steal money from the ignorant and gullible public. The name of the charity is Susan G. Komen for the cure. While we're at it, we ought to decode cure as well, as it sums to 47, a number you have learned a thing or two about already. Susan G. Komen for the cure equals 96 reduction. Freemason equals 96 ordinal. Cure equals 47 ordinal, 47 degrees on the Freemason logo. Now you know why the cure never comes, despite the rapid advancement of technology and computers, automobiles, pills that make the thallus pop, and even cosmetic things such as breasts and butt cheek implants. It is profit over people, and cancer is big business, as you well know. More importantly, when people donate money to this false charity, it goes to they, which means anywhere but cancer research. In all likelihood, it is probably being used to fund the next cancer-causing thing our Congress will keep us from knowing is in our food. The next time you see the pink ribbon, say no. For a bit more on conspiracy, before we get to the proof of who they are, in 2016, Progressive Insurance and Pizza Hut released ads making fun of conspiracy theorists, targeting those who seek truth, including 9/11 and more. With regards to Pizza Hut, the company was open in 58 and turned 58 years old in 2016, just in time for their commercial that was made by they. In 2017, FedEx followed in their footsteps, releasing an ad making fun of 9/11 truthers with a commercial about a conspiracy-related bookstore called Conspiracy Books, and in the background of the ad showcasing a giant they poster with the word in caps. Next to they, it was followed with the words control all. Notice the following gematria and pay mind to the fact that the JFK assassination happened in 63. By the way, 2016 is the 63rd triangular number, and the first of these commercials released in the respective year 2016. Conspiracy Books equals 68 reduction. They control all equals 47 septenary. They control all equals 63 reduction. Don't overlook the fact that 2017 release of the commercial was 54 years after 1963. The same FedEx ad, which we'll talk more about in the 9/11 chapter, and same with the Pizza Hut ad, ends with the bookstore employee saying to the FedEx worker, if your name is even Bill, which he replies to, actually it's William. Bill equals 47 ALW Kabbalah. William equals 47 reverse reduction. Commercial equals 47 reverse reduction. Star, the commercial is supposed to be set in Seattle on the 4740 North. Star, the Seattle Space Needle has a rotating restaurant that does a 360-degree turn every 47 minutes. If you haven't seen these ads, they're a web search away, and it should lead you to boycott these companies that participate in this type of deception and mockery. In the case of the Progressive ad, it features two older men in their mother's basement, listening to recordings in reverse. And the phrase the commercial repeats is lively little locksmith. Lively little locksmith. Let me show you why they chose this phrase. Keep in mind, we just learned conspiracy has ordinal gematria of 123. Lively little locksmith equals 123 reverse reduction. In reduction gematria, the same phrase also equates to conspiracy theorist as well as mother's basement. The math is as follows. Lively little locksmith equals 93 reduction. Mother's basement equals 93 reverse reduction. Conspiracy theorist equals 93 reduction. In the Progressive commercial, where they're listening to recordings in reverse, a stereotypical conspiracy theorist activity, the purpose of the ad is to degrade conspiracy researchers as idiotic propaganda pushers who need to grow up and get out of their mom's basement. The reason they really want the truth seekers to move on from the truth is because they're afraid of being exposed and more people waking up to their lies and their agenda. It's just like what it says in the Talmud. If the people ever find out the truth, those who abide by the Talmud are dead meat. And it is the same Talmud thumpers who call us goyim, who think we're too dumb for our own good, that makes these ads. Propaganda equals 93 ordinal. Recording equals 93 ordinal. For one last point about the Progressive commercial, when the mother calls on her son who appears to be in his mid-40s, if not older, hunching over with thick-rimmed glasses and staring into his computer, his name is Tom, not too far from the Progressive Insurance character Flo, who appears in the ad as well. In reverse reduction gematria, Tom sums to 33, same as Flo, forwards. Again, a big part of the ad is listening to things in reverse. As will become understood, the number 33 is a signature of they, in their ongoing conspiracy-based agenda that they so desperately want the people of the world to feel the consequences of, but not be privy to. Ahead we'll cover the gematria of 33 for false flag and pirate, where the term false flag originates from, and how once upon a time the very Masonic Knights Templar were pirates. Tom equals 33 reverse ordinal. Flo equals 33 ordinal. On the subject of recordings and propaganda, think about all the recorded propaganda available for mainstream consumption that somehow the sleeping masses don't see through. As I write this book, some classic examples we have are the melting planes of September 11 that defied the laws of physics with their fiberglass wings piercing steel and concrete, at least according to what is shown on TV. We also have the footage of multiple men in army fatigues running out the back of Sandy Hook Elementary School, and then the shooting being blamed on 112-pound Adam Lanza hours later. Days after the incident, the media said this was because they were accidentally showing footage of an active shooter drill at a different elementary school in close proximity to Sandy Hook while the Sandy Hook shooting was taking place. Somehow, someway, people buy this. As for Adam Lanza's weight of 112 pounds, we'll get to why they reported this seemingly meaningless detail until you check the gematria of Sandy Hook. Even better, we have the Boston Marathon bombing, smoke bomb, and firework explosion that didn't even disturb the silverware glasses or plates on the tables they detonated by. Plus, on top of that, there is video evidence of people purposefully manufacturing the fake terror scene, including pouring fake blood on the ground, led by a man in a cowboy hat, and yet, somehow, someway, people still aren't catching on to the manufactured deception and extremely obvious lies. Sadly, instead, they're just falling back on their programmed responses. Conspiracy theory, coincidence, tinfoil hat. For another example of programming that enforces those stereotypical responses, the fast food brand Taco Bell, owned by Yum Foods, began a series of ads titled Illuminati at the end of 2017, mocking the existence of powerful secret societies such as the Illuminati, or simply put, they. The image shown to the left is a clip from the original Illuminati ad, which focuses on the dollar. You'll notice the series of letters and numbers on the dollar bill begins TB for Taco Bell, then continues with 235 and so on. In light of this series of numbers being emphasized on the dollar bill beginning with 235, I want to show you what is interesting about the gematria of Federal Reserve, the Illuminati-owned asset that prints the U.S. currency, and how it compares with the name Taco Bell was promoting for the commercial Illuminati. Federal Reserve equals 235 reverse ordinal. Illuminati equals 235 franc baconis. Recall each leg of the Masonic compasses is kicked out at 23.5 degrees, 235 in parentheses, forming a 47-degree angle. This factors into Taco Bell, summing to 47 in reverse reduction, gematria. Making matters even more interesting is the gematria of Illuminati in KFW, Kabbalah, and the ordinal gematria of Bavarian Illuminati, the Enlightenment organization established May 1, 1776, just before the American Revolution. Bavarian Illuminati equals 188 ordinal. Illuminati equals 188 KFW, Kabbalah. In light of money being the focus of the commercial and how many items you can buy with just $1 at Taco Bell, consider the denominations of U.S. currency: the $1, the $2, the $5, the $10, the $20, the $50, and the $100. If you add each value together, it totals 188. And it is the symbolism of the Bavarian Illuminati on the $1 bill that is printed by the Federal Reserve. Case in point, the 13 layers of bricks on the dollar are symbolic of the 13 families that established the organization and the knowledge of the sun, our nearest star, in relation to the 12 constellations. Speaking of the pyramid with 13 layers of bricks, it reminds why Taco Bell was chosen for such a series of ads. It relates to the company's founding on March 21, 1962, a date with numerology of 86. 3/21/62 equals 3 plus 21 plus 62 equals 86. The passing of their founder at age 86, who was Glenn William Bell, a name summing to 86 in reverse reduction, and who passed on a date with numerology of 47, January 16, 2010, as well as their logo, which relates directly to the number 86. If you're not aware, Taco Bell has a pyramid for a logo, and the words pyramid, triangle, and symbol each equates to 86 in ordinal gematria. As for the pyramid on the dollar bill, The eye at the top is known as the Eye of Providence, having reduction gematria of 86. And as for the eye itself, you learned earlier the word sums to 35 in ordinal, which corresponds with Illuminati in septenary, also equating to 35. Consider the Illuminati attempts to rule the mind's eye of the masses with symbolism. And if you want to go deeper, recall that 35, symbolizing eye, is a fascinating number because 5 is the third prime, and both 3 and 5 are prime numbers as individual digits. The Illuminati equals 153 ordinal. Prime numbers equals 153 ordinal. Regarding the Illuminati and the eye, the symbol shown to the left is often associated with the Bavarian Illuminati. Notice the gematria of the motto, I see everything. In reverse, or ordinal gematria, that phrase sums to 235, just the same as Federal Reserve. And, of course, it is money that is controlling the mind's eye for nearly all of humanity. I often say, if only we can get people to care about the truth, in the same way they care about dollar bills, y'all. I see everything equals 235. Speaking of the mind's eye of the masses being controlled and them not seeing the obvious because of it, in the year 2017, as I write this, on a weekly basis, as the quickening is taking place, we are bombarded with details of terrorist attacks, accompanied with witness accounts of the terror by people who are laughing and grinning at the same time when they are supposed to be providing details of a terrible tragedy. You would think more people would catch on, as routine as these scenarios in the media have become. For example, who can forget Robbie Parker, the first Sandy Hook parent, who was joking and laughing with someone just off camera before being alerted he was on live television, which prompted him to take a deep breath, then act as if he was all choked up at the loss of his child. Parker equals 33 reduction. Robbie equals 33 reduction. Star Robert equals 33 reduction. Newtown equals 33 reduction. Location of Sandy Hook, false flag. Moments into the theatrical performance, he asked the general public to donate money through his Facebook page, an entity controlled by they. If you have never noticed, Mark Zuckerberg, the Zionist and frontman for the CIA-controlled social media platform, has the same birthday as Israel, May 14, which we will cover later. Zuck was born in 84, Israel was born in 48. If you are willing, please look up the 2010 D8 conference interview where Mark Zuckerberg revealed that on the inside of his Facebook hoodies, there are secretly hidden Star of David logos, just shown to the left. Things such as this should break even the most sincere of coincidence theorists. It is blatant. As for Robbie, the con man Parker, can you imagine losing your daughter, telling jokes, laughing, and then suddenly, after finding out the cameras were on you, acting as if you're sad, before asking for strangers to send you money? Notice that in all of these terrorist attacks and mass shootings, there is a public fundraiser that comes along with it now, and usually is part of the campaign for raising money. It is the city name with the word strong, i.e. Boston Strong. This is not by accident. Observe how strong has gematria of 93, corresponding with propaganda. Strong equals 93 ordinal. Usually in these made-for-TV propaganda scenarios, there is a paid-for-media propagandist who is truly an employee of the CIA, coaching the crisis actor along, such as Anderson Cooper, who shamed all the people speaking truth about the obvious lies of Sandy Hook. Cooper and other perpetrators of fear in the media will often use buzzwords to help these smiling actors and actresses play along to the false tragedy by saying, "Can you tell us about the fear you were feeling?" They love that word, fear. Fear sells and fear controls. Of course, this is an agenda about control. For a little more gematria practice, take a moment to decode both his names, and you'll find Anderson sums to 36 in reduction, the same as Cooper. Recall 666 is the 36th triangular number, and to go with it, Anderson Cooper in reverse ordinal sums to 216, the product of 6 times 6 times 6. Making matters even more interesting, his recorded birthday is June 3, or 3/6. This man, along with every other face you see in the propaganda-based news media, is an agent of the beast. Same with the rest of the gang of they. And if you're not aware, crisis actors are a big and growing industry that goons like Cooper speak to each and every day on the 100% propaganda-based airwaves, again funded with our tax dollars by the CIA, which needs to be put out of commission as the 33rd President, Harry S. Truman, requested in a Washington Post op-ed dated December 22, 1963. Of course, it was Truman who signed the CIA, NSA, and all the other branches of government into existence that now work to deceive us and spy on us on the daily. His op-ed a month after the killing of JFK was no doubt written because of what transpired November 22 in the 33 ritual that it was. Please read it. He clearly stated that the CIA needed to be reduced to an intelligence-gathering platform with no other power, of course. That never happened, and since then, its biceps have only grown. On the subject of crisis actors, paid for with CIA dollars, which means your dollars, a name to look up is recent history is Joshua Bitsko, the supposed Las Vegas police officer who began laughing on 60 Minutes, the CBS news program, while describing the room of the shooter in the October 1, 2017 Las Vegas massacre, where he said he was literally tripping over guns because there were so many in the room. Someone tell me what's so funny about destroying a crime scene, or anything else for that matter. Another name to look up is Dr. H. Wayne Carver, the medical examiner who laughed multiple times in a 15-minute press conference about the supposedly 26 deceased at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. The fact that CIA and media are willing to put out these interviews goes to show they know just how asleep the zombie-like masses are, who seemingly have lost the ability to reason or apply logic to what is coming through the screens, from TVs to smartphones. How could a man laugh and smile while talking about dead children? How? I'm being rhetorical. To answer the question, I'll quote the orange Oompa Loompa, Donald Trump, who said on October 13, 2017, while pledging money to Israel and at the same time disrespecting the people of Puerto Rico, who he said were looking for handouts, only after they had just been slaughtered with a man-made storm. The United States is a nation of believers. What that means is we're not a nation of thinkers, which is a deadly problem, literally. Dr. H. Wayne Carver equals 93 reduction, V equals 22. As for Joshua Bitsko, his name has multiple connections to Freemasonry and the reported events of October 1, 2017 in Las Vegas, Nevada, which I'll begin to introduce. For one of many in the reduction method, his name sums to 42, just the same as Freemason. As a reminder, the divisors of the number 42 equate to 96, and Freemason equates to 42 in reduction, as well as 96 in ordinal. Instead of decoding his name further, I will dissect the words policeman, cop, and as a reminder, authority, because routinely these minions of the New World Order, hint Joshua Bitsko equals New World Order equals false flag, are appearing on television and lying about hoaxes and false flags that are meant to build the agenda of the tyrants at the top, the ongoing police state, the Big Brother mission. As we decode, keep in mind, they said the Nevada shooter owned 47 firearms, a familiar number, and one reported by the feds after the ATF first reported he owned 42 guns. The latter count matching the ordinal gematria of gun, where again, Joshua Bitsko was having trouble not tripping on the guns in the shooter's room. Please know that across the world, police have always been the agents of they, which is why police exist. If you doubt what I'm saying, pay attention the next time there is a protest against corporate tyranny. You'll notice the police line up to defend the tyrants. It is clockwork, and it never fails. For the person who knows their history, they know police were first created to protect rich merchants in London. And in every society where police have been formed, crime rates have increased, and not coincidentally. The biggest killers and drug dealers throughout the world are police, and they have been since the time of their existence. The police are your enemy, and to not know this is to be completely ignorant. Seriously, what do they do besides show up to crime scenes? Well, after the fact, offer no assistance to the victim, and needlessly write tickets and shut down lanes during rush hour, causing extra traffic. As we decode the relevant terms, keep in mind the video game and movie character Agent 47 from the series Hitman. Agent equals 47 ordinal, authority equals 47 reduction, policeman equals 47 reverse reduction, cop equals 47 reverse ordinal, government equals 47 reverse reduction. Star, firearm equals 47 reverse reduction. Star, Nevada equals 47 ordinal. Policeman equals 74 reverse reduction. P equals 11, E equals 22. London equals 74 ordinal. Joshua equals 74 ordinal, as in Joshua Bitsko. Now is a good time to point out the modern era of Freemasonry began June 24, 1717, with a premier Grand Lodge of London, England, on a date with 47 numerology. Premier equals 42 reverse reduction. Premier equals 48 reduction. Freemason equals 42 reduction. Freemason equals 48 reverse reduction. 6/24/17 equals 6 plus 24 plus 17 equals 47. Mason equals 17 reduction. To take it a step further, let us connect police and conspiracy. Police equals 147 Jewish Gematria. Freemason equals 147 reverse ordinal. Conspiracy equals 147 reverse ordinal. Masonic equals 147 Frank Baconist. Star. Mother's basement equals 147 reverse reduction. H equals 10. E equals 22. Recall when Kabbalah is practiced within Freemasonry, it is called Kabbalah. These police agents are used in every Kabbalah-based false flag, hoax, ritual, without exception. They are sworn minions of the Synagogue of Satan, and are used as such because ultimately at the top of Freemasonry, the puppeteers of the fraternity are the same false Jews spoken of in the Bible. Let us now examine the Gematria of Kabbalah and how it connects to Gematria when the Frank Baconist cipher is used. Before decoding, let us examine this quote from Manly P. Hall on the language of Gematria in relation to Kabbalah. His words from the Secret Teachings of All Ages are as follows. The three Kabbalistic processes termed Gematria, Notarikon, and Temura makes possible the discovery of many of the profoundest truths of ancient Jewish superphysics. In case you're wondering what Notarikon and Temura are, they are specific to Hebrew and have to do with rearranging the letters of given words. Kabbalah equals 147 reverse ordinal. Gematria equals 147 Frank Baconist. As I mentioned earlier, Manly P. Hall earned his top honors in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry 47 years after writing The Secret Teachings of All Ages. In that book, he exposes the reader to ordinal and reduction gematria, advising the reader to experiment with reduction. What he left out were the reverse methods, plus everything else I have taught you. Let's now decode the title of his book with reverse reduction, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. 147 reverse reduction. Let us also decode the name Manly P. Hall, recognizing how it connects to the reduction gematria of Freemason. 42. To give credit where it is due, he did teach his readers how to make these very simple calculations. He also shared the method for revealing what is special about the name Hall. If you experiment with the ciphers you have learned, you will see the multiple ways his name also connects to Scottish Rite, including having gematria of 57, one of our numbers connected to conspiracy. Manly P. Hall equals 42 reduction. Hall equals 33 ordinal. For good measure, you should know the name Kabbalah pairs nicely with Freemason in more ways than one. Keep in mind, Freemason sums to 42 in reduction, 48 in reverse reduction, similar to Premier and Masonry, sums to 39 in reverse reduction as well, not unlike the number of books in the Old Testament, where 39 is also a special number, to the Tree of Life, as we learned in chapter 8. Kabbalah equals 42 ordinal. Kabbalah equals 48 ALW Kabbalah. Kabbalah equals 48, reverse reduction, H equals 10. Kabbalah equals 39, reverse reduction. Kabbalah equals 17, septenary. On the subject of Freemasonry and police, all throughout the United States of America there is a very familiar pattern with the police stations being built in close proximity to the town's local Scottish Rite Freemason lodge, from small towns to large cities. Oftentimes the buildings are right next door or just across the street from each other. Hardly ever are they more than a few blocks away from one another. This is no coincidence. Instead, it is because they are essentially one and the same. To be clear, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry controls all of police across the world, no exceptions. With all Masonic-related things, the Gematria tells the tale. Fraternal Order of Police equals 187, reverse reduction. P equals 11, E equals 22. Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equals 187, reverse reduction. How do you think police departments came up with the homicide code 187, as is used in California and elsewhere? Again, these people want to be like God or Elohim, summing to 187 in Hebrew, and being the name used commonly in the 187 chapter Torah. Star. Please know this Hebrew spelling of Elohim is an alternate method used by Kabbalists to generate the value of 187. The traditional spelling sums to 47. 187 Hebrew traditional, Elohim. The traditional spelling is just below, corresponding with authority. The authority wants to be God, and we, the people, have let them become something close, which must be undone, now and not later. For each day that passes, their power builds, and ours diminishes, because this is the steady direction of things. Hello, Patriot Act, 47 Hebrew Ordinal. We'll expose the people for what they are many times over as we progress, along with the federal and state governments they serve. But for now, you should also know that in reduction gematria, the title of police sums to 33, reminding of the infamous LAPD beating of Rodney King on March 3, 1991, an event we'll take apart in great detail in the race war chapter. By knowing the code, you'll see just how repetitive the patterns are of the stories in the media, meant to incite racial division, from Rodney King to O.J. Simpson to Trayvon Martin to Michael Brown to Freddie Gray and so much more. Police equals 33 reduction, Masonry equals 33 reduction, LAPD equals 33 ordinal. For the record, the first police force in England, which gives roots to police as we now know them, was known as the Marine Police Force, which ties right back into the numbers we have covered, including 33, 47, and 147. England equals 33 reverse reduction. Marine equals 33 reduction. Police equals 33 reduction. Force equals 47 ordinal. Marine Police Force equals 94 reverse reduction. 94 equals 147 ordinal. Don't forget Revelation 9:4 is the 147th verse of the Bible, or that Jacob, who is also known as Israel, dies at age 147 in Genesis 47. In the chapter on world wars, we'll learn more about the recognition of Israel in 47 with a 33-member vote in favor on the 333rd day of the year. And in the chapter on NASA, we'll learn just how important the relationship between 94 and 147 truly is. Also pertinent, recall that when you write out 47th, it equates to 147 in Gematria. These are significant numbers to the code. For learning, and police are pertinent minions to the Freemasonic New World Order agenda, as stated and stated again for thoroughness. Now as for the word they, the Gematria behind it, in our most basic ordinal method, reveals the number 58, which you become familiar with at the conclusion of Chapter 2. They equals 58 ordinal. Recall how this number connects to Freemasonry, as well as Rosicrucian order, where the roots of modern Freemasonry rest. In a moment, we'll discuss the death of King James at age 58, the Rosicrucian and Freemason, whose right-hand man, Francis Bacon, has much to do with the establishment of the United States of America. As we decode, recall that Rose Cross is the meaning of the name Rosicrucian, and it is a symbol of secrecy. Freemasonry equals 58 reduction, Rosicrucian equals 58 reduction. Rose cross equals 58 reverse reduction. Fraternal equals 58 reverse reduction. Secret society equals 58 reduction. Solomon's temple equals 58 reduction. Herod's temple equals 58 reverse reduction. Jerusalem equals 58 reverse reduction. Craftsman equals 58 reverse reduction. United States equals 58 reduction, S equals 10. Washington equals 58 reduction, S equals 10. We the people equals 58 reduction. In God we trust equals 58 reduction. Annuit coeptus equals 58 reduction. Don't tread on me equals 58 reduction. Star Susan G. Komen equals 58 reduction, S equals 10. Power equals 58 reverse ordinal. Press equals 58 reverse ordinal. Big Brother equals 58 ordinal. Facebook equals 58 ordinal. For you Freemasons out there, did you complete your 3 tracing boards for your first 3 degrees? What are in relation to the biblical story of Jacob's ladder from Genesis? They probably forgot to tell you about Gematria when you signed up, am I right? Tracing board equals 58 reduction. Biblical equals 58 reverse reduction. Star Pagans equals 58 ordinal. And regarding conspiracy theory, this is where our complementary ciphers kick in. Conspiracy theory equals 58 septenary. Conspiracy theory equals 58 Chaldean. Again, we're not talking conspiracy theory here. We're talking strictly conspiracy fact. And these Freemasons at the head of the conspiracy are absolutely up doo-doo creek without a paddle, because of the repetitiveness of their rituals causing harm to the people of the world, and because since 2013 the knowledge of their wrongdoing by numbers has been exposed by yours truly at an ever-increasing rate that is about to reach a critical mass, bringing their reign to a long overdue end. As stated, this reign goes back to before the establishment of the United States of America, which is where we'll now revisit. If you are not familiar with Francis Bacon, well, you learned a bit about him in Chapter 3 in relation to Shakespeare, the right-hand man of King James, who was also a Rosicrucian and Freemason, and who is credited for being the guiding spirit in the colonization scheme. A motto remembered on collector stamps from the year 1610 that were used in England. It is said Francis Bacon, being a man of wisdom and influence, persuaded Queen Elizabeth I, who became queen in 1558, emphasis on 58, to fund the voyages that began the early colonizing of what became the United States of America, a mission completed 166 years after 1610 stamps were created. Not by chance, secret society in ordinal gematria sums to 166. And so does the guiding spirit in the colonization scheme, when the septenary cipher is applied. Also, as we learned, there is nothing arbitrary about the date July 4, 1776, in light of the Masonic nation, that is, America, established by the secret brotherhood. Let us also decode the name of the plan for the early formation of the nation, the colonization scheme, a title summing to 58 in the septenary cipher. Go figure. Colonization scheme equals 58 septenary. The guiding spirit in the colonization scheme equals 166 septenary. Secret society equals 166 ordinal. The Bavarian Illuminati equals 166 reverse reduction, H equals 10, E equals 22. As for Francis Bacon, also known as Lord Bacon, I want to examine his date of birth and his date of death, to reveal something extremely fascinating about his legacy and the nation that would go on to become the United States of America. Francis Bacon was born January 22, 1561, and died April 9, 1626, unexpectedly from pneumonia, preventing him from finishing his written work, New Atlantis, a title we learned a bit about in the opening chapter. There are multiple fascinating components here, but we'll begin with the number 99, as Francis Bacon died on the 99th day of the calendar year. As we decode his birth numerology, you'll notice it connects to the numbers 99 as well as 84. numbers both having much to do with the United States of America. 1/22/1561 equals 1 plus 22 plus 15 plus 61 equals 99. 1/22/61 equals 1 plus 22 plus 61 equals 84. In reduction gematria, the United States of America sums to 99, and if you leave off the name of the nation, totals 84. The United States of America equals 99 reduction. United States of America equals 84 reduction. If you use the Frank-Baconist cipher, one credited to Francis Bacon, America also equates to 99. The same is true of Scottish Rite in LCH Kabbalah. America equals 99 Frank-Baconist. Scottish Rite equals 99 LCH Kabbalah. Think about how the nation began with 13 colonies, and the flag has 13 stripes, and once 13 stars. In ordinal gematria, 13 also sums to 99. 13 equals 99 ordinal, star equals 13 reduction. Also relevant, in the Frank-Baconist cipher, what is found on the collector's stamp equates to 909, not too far from 99. The guiding spirit in the colonization scheme equals 909 Frank-Baconist. His April 9 death on the 99th day of the year can be expressed 4/9, something like 49. The number 49 points directly to America as well. America equals 49 reverse reduction, star. Washington equals 49 reduction. When he died, April 9, it was 77 days after his birthday, a number connecting to the United States, secret society, power, and also the number 49. As we decode, don't forget Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian west. United States equals 77 reverse reduction. Secret society equals 77 reverse reduction. Power equals 77 ordinal. 77 equals 49 reduction. Power equals 49 reverse reduction. P equals 11, E equals 22. As mentioned, Francis Bacon was known as Lord Bacon. This title has gematria of 84 in ordinal, as does colony, as does states. In reverse ordinal, Masonry also sums to 84. Equally as important, the word Jesuit in ordinal sums to 84, and at the point in history when Bacon died, the Rosicrucian order and the Jesuits were said to be sworn enemies at war with each other. While that might have been true then, it is very clear they're in bed together in the modern era, or the modern age, as allies in the New World Order agenda, part of what Manly P. Hall called the Order of the Quest. Lord Bacon equals 84 ordinal. Colony equals 84 ordinal. States equals 84 ordinal. Masonry equals 84 reverse ordinal. Star M equals 84 reverse Sumerian. The Jesuit order equals 84 reverse ordinal. Jesuit equals 84 ordinal. The Catholic Church equals 84 reduction. Again, Francis Bacon was the guiding spirit of the colonization scheme. The guiding spirit equals 84 septenary. On the subject of 84, there is a parallel with the number 40, and again, it is a spelling with the King James Bible of 40 that is the reason we still spell the word as it is today. Notice how when 40 is written out, it has a gematria of 84, and further, how 40 also pertains to the United States, US, USA, as well as Old Testament, what is the majority of the Bible, including the King James Bible. 40 equals 84 ordinal. US equals 40 ordinal. USA equals 40 reverse ordinal. United States equals 40 reduction. Old Testament equals 40 reduction. Star by the book equals 40 reduction. Mathematics equals 40 reduction. Using the septenary cipher, his unfinished written work, New Atlantis, also sums to 40. New Atlantis equals 40 septenary. Atlantis equals 33 reduction, S equals 10. Americas equals 33 reduction. Speaking of Francis Bacon's written work, New Atlantis, there is something very fascinating about the title that syncs with the number 99 just as well. As we decode, consider he died while writing the text. In Satanic Gematria, New Atlantis sums to 523, the 99th prime number. New Atlantis equals 523, Satanic Gematria. I should mention the oldest known Freemasons meeting traces back to July 31, 1599, emphasis on 99, at the Lodge of Edinburgh. In Ordinal Gematria, the name of the lodge sums to 152, matching the date numerology of the meeting. In addition, Edinburgh sums to 47 in reverse reduction, the number we know well. Star 7/31/1599 equals 7 plus 31 plus 15 plus 99 equals 152. As for his book, it was about a utopian empire. Fittingly in reduction, New Atlantis and Empire have gematria of 39, matching the numbers of books in the Old Testament which he had a hand in writing for King James. His alias, Lord Bacon, also equates to the same number in the same method. New Atlantis equals 39 reduction. Empire equals 39 reduction. Lord Bacon equals 39 reduction. His date of death also had numerology of 39, leaving New Atlantis unfinished. 4 plus 9 plus 26 equals 39. Not too far off from 39 is the number 139, which is what the name Francis equates to using the Frank-Baconus cipher. Francis equals 139 Frank-Baconus. This number is important to Freemasonry, America, and more. If you've ever seen the TV show Westworld, it factors right in because it is about a land where people live who, unknown to them, the purpose of their existence is not their own. If you read what is within the Talmud, where it says the Goyim is to slave for the Jewish master, the pieces really begin to fall into place. Freemasonry equals 139 ordinal, America equals 139 reverse ordinal, Westworld equals 139 ordinal, Jewish state equals 139 ordinal, Jerusalem equals 139 ordinal, the Bavarian Illuminati equals 139 reverse reduction. Remember, the Kabbalah code, which all of this is based in, traces back to Jerusalem. And better than that, in New Atlantis, a Jew named Joabin, who Francis Bacon is sure to mention is circumcised, assists the protagonist. Joabin equals 39 reverse reduction. Better than that, the name Joabin also encodes 666. Recall in Chapter 3 we learned about the Psalm 46 tribute in the King James Bible, where the 46th word is shake, and the 46th word from the end is spear, and how Psalm 46 leaves 666 remaining chapters in the KJV of 1611, the year of its first publishing, hinting that Shakespeare was indeed Bacon. Joabin equals 666 reverse Sumerian. In Jewish history books, it is well taught that the United States of America is a Jewish nation from its inception. As Jewish historians will write, if it was not for Jewish bankers, the Revolutionary War would never have been able to be fought because it was Jewish bankers who paid for America to engage the battle. If you have Netflix, there is a film you can stream called 4 Blood Moons that delves into this subject. Revolutionary War equals 84 reduction. Revolutionary War equals 58 septenary. Of course, from that point in history up to the present, all wars across all of the world have been funded by Jewish bankers who love the interest war lending generates for them. Have you ever noticed how new rhymes with Jew? And again, this is the new world order, which is really a quite old world order at this point. In the Talmud, charging interest is permitted, something that is frowned on in the other religions of the world. Recall, Jesus didn't have nice things to say about the money changers, a title having ordinal gematria of 147, not unlike $1, which sums to 147 in reverse ordinal, as well as 96 in ordinal. For a few last points about Francis, before we move on to King James, whom he served, I want you to see how the name Francis connects to USA. As you learned in Chapter 3, the name has gematria of 119, connecting to the reverse reduction gematria of William Shakespeare. When you use the Francis Bacon method of gematria, USA also sums to 119, connecting to Orthodox, Star of David, and All-Seeing Eye. Francis equals 119 reverse ordinal. USA equals 119 Francis Bacon. The name Francis also reminds us of the date of establishment for the United States of America, as well as the degree on the compasses of the Freemason logo. Francis equals 47 reverse reduction, and in Jewish gematria his name sums to 229, what is the 50th prime, syncing well with America and its 50 states. Francis equals 229 Jewish gematria, America equals 50 ordinal. His last name Bacon provides the perfect transition to King James, the king who became a Freemason April 15, 1601, and a span of 66 days from turning age 35. That came in history years after he acquired the throne at just 13 months of age, which should clue you into the fact that the kings of then were no different than the puppet presidents and leaders of the New World Order today. As for James becoming a Freemason, when he did, in Jewish gematria, king sums to 66, and in ordinal, empire equates to 66, just the same. And James would go on to build an empire. As for April 15, a very specific date on the Gregorian calendar, it is the 105th day of the year, which is a number corresponding with the ordinal gematria of Masonry and Francis Bacon, which both equate to 105, as does Zionism, a newer term, but an age-old movement, which is the movement of Jewish supremacy. One wonders how much influence Francis Bacon had on King James making this decision. At this specific age and date he did. And a better question than that, in light of his Jewish protagonist in New Atlantis, who did Bacon truly serve? I imagine it was the same people the U.S. presidents serve today, the kings of Israel or the synagogue of Satan. Bacon equals 35 ordinal, King James equals 35 reduction. Masonry equals 350 satanic. Francis Bacon equals 105 ordinal, Masonry equals 105 ordinal. For the record, it is recorded in what is known as the Mutual Agreement of December 24, 1658, emphasis on 58, at Lodge number 3 in Perth, Scotland, that April 15, 1601 was the date King James became a Freemason. In reduction gematria, the title of the agreement equates to 74, representing Masonic. The mutual agreement equals 74 reduction. The Bavarian Illuminati equals 74 septenary. For our final point on Bacon, notice how in Jewish gematria Bacon sums to 96. A number we learned earlier represents Freemason in ordinal. As a reminder, the word free in Jewish gematria also sums to 96. It isn't hard to see who is really free in the United States of America, or should I say, Westworld. For anyone reading who would contend they're free in the United States, I would ask you how that is. Did you get to choose to go to school where you learned about the Jew Christopher Columbus, who discovered a land where people already lived before beginning the genocide? Did you get to choose what man-made vaccines were injected into your body as a requirement to attend said schools? Tell me, what day was it where you didn't need $1 to get by? If you start thinking, you'll realize this is a slave state. If your response is, well, it could be worse, I would ask you to consider what kind of response that is. Remember, in the Talmud it states the Goyim are a lesser race, and they are happy being slaves to the Jew. Bacon equals 96, Jewish gematria. Free equals 96, Jewish. The guiding spirit equals 96, reduction. As for King James, he was the first king to unite the three kingdoms of Ireland, Scotland, and England, doing so after the death of Queen Elizabeth in 1603, and beginning the legacy of what is now known as the United Kingdom, which later expanded into the United States, two entities that have never truly separated, despite the lives lost in the Revolutionary War. For 22 years, James was the king over these three specific kingdoms. Notice 22 years, 3 kingdoms. We've learned a good deal about 223, as well as its reflection 322. In the language of satanic gematria, James also equates to 223. James equals 223 Satanic Gematria. Of course, James did not rule any longer because of his premature death, which came 3 days after 22-year anniversary of his unprecedented reign over the three kingdoms, beginning March 24, 1603, with Elizabeth I's passing. In light of him dying 23 years after becoming a Freemason and 22 years after ruling over three kingdoms, let us decode the word king with reduction and reverse reduction gematria. King equals 23, reduction. King equals 22, reverse reduction. King James died March 27, 1625, a fitting date for a royal death. Let us examine. 3/27/1625 equals 3 plus 27 plus 16 plus 25 equals 71. Royal equals 71 ordinal. 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 equals 26. Royal equals 26 reduction. In more recent times, on October 21, 2017, the day leaving 71 days left in the year, it was a historic moment when the past 5 still living U.S. presidents were all gathered in a room together, who will all be offed in due time by the numbers, just as Ronald Reagan was, and the rest of them, which we'll get to. Those 5 men were Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H. W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter. As our papers often tell us, the U.S. presidents are all connected to royal blood, because, as I have mentioned, we do not live in a democracy, we live in a Masonic dictatorship, and Masonry is the order of the elites. On that same date, the presidents gathered. There were headlines about Donald Trump planning to release classified documents on the assassination of JFK. Remember, JFK was the 35th president, the only Catholic. In reduction, Catholic sums to 35, and in ordinal, Catholic equates to 71. I make this point to remind you how the same ritual persists from the time of King James to the time of King Trump. The date of King James's passing is also the 86th day of the year on the Gregorian calendar. I'm sure you have learned the term 86 before, tracing back to Walter Winchell's 1933 newspaper column, where he taught it was an alternative way to say nix, or get rid of. In all reality, I think the term probably traces back much farther than that, despite what the history books say. In Gematria, blood sacrifice sums to 86 in reverse reduction, and at the same time, so do the words symbol, triangle, and pyramid, when ordinal Gematria is used. As we mentioned when discussing the death of the Taco Bell founder, and of course King James is quite symbolic, having his own Bible and all. Regarding his death by the numbers, it is important to point out he died in the year 25, where in reverse reduction, death equates to 25. Recognizing that King James was murdered by the code, as so many in history have been, know this is the code of they, and a code that persists to this very day, and will continue to persist until the synagogue of Satan is laid to rest. What are the controlling forces of Freemasonry, which in high places is the New World Order? Let us now examine how the title King James equates to ritual sacrifice. Then we will examine a recent example of a celebrity being taken by the same numbers. King James equals 154 reverse ordinal. Star, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equals 154 reduction, S equals 10. Ritual sacrifice equals 154 ordinal. More recently, on June 8, or 8/6, James W. Hardy III, and yes, W is his middle name, a former professional NFL football player also bearing the name James, was found dead in the Indiana River. As I covered then, he was sacrificed for the current living King James, LeBron James, during the time of the 2016-17 NBA Finals, who a year earlier had won his first NBA championship for Cleveland, Ohio, on the real King James's birthday. Notice how James W. Hardy III equates to 154 as well. James W. Hardy III equals 154 ordinal. He died a span of 166 days from his birthday, that number connecting to secret society. And if you write James Hardy alone, how he was known in the NFL, it sums to 166 in reverse ordinal. As for where he died in Indiana, it has ordinal gematria of 52, connecting to death and Kabbalah. It is also a number that connects to the King James Bible, where historians concur it was released on the date May 2, 1611, a day that can be written 5/2, similar to 52. Regarding the KJV 1611, as a reminder, that was the year the king turned 45 years old. As we learned earlier, Holy Bible equates to 45 in reduction gematria, as well as reverse reduction, matching the reduction gematria of geometry and Shakespeare, among other things. Another important reminder is that good book sums to 223 in Jewish gematria, similar to James summing to 223 in Satanic gematria. As for the May 2 release date, the number 52, in addition to connecting to Kabbalah, connects to authority and government. And here we're talking about a Bible in the name of a king. Even more interesting, May 2, 1611 was 48 days before his 45th birthday, June 19, 1611, having been born June 19, 1566. In ordinal gematria, James sums to 48, and again the number 223 is the 48th prime. As a reminder, Freemason in English and Hebrew equates to 48 as well. As for the reflection of 48, which is 84, Good Book has ordinal gematria of 84, the number very relevant to Francis Bacon, the credited main author. James equals 48 ordinal, Freemason equals 48 reverse reduction. It also equals 48 in Hebrew ordinal. Another fascinating point about the date May 2 is that on the Gregorian calendar it is the 122nd day of the year, which corresponds with the word Freemason in Francis Bacon gematria, ever so fitting. The word Elohim in Jewish gematria also sums to 122, and in Hebrew gematria it is the word Elohim from the Bible, from the first verse of Genesis, that is the most studied. Don't forget that Francis Bacon was born January 22, a date that can be expressed as 1/22, not unlike 122. Freemason equals 122 Francis Bacon. Elohim equals 122 Jewish gematria. With regards to 122, it should also be noted that the establishment date of the Bavarian Illuminati, a they organization, was May 1, 1776, in a leap year. Thus May 1 was the 122nd day of the year. This matters because the number 122 is the reflection of 221, and the Bavarian Illuminati sums to 221 in ordinal gematria. To show you a recent example of how these two numbers came together, on March 1, a date that can be expressed as 1/3, not unlike 13, and a reminding of the 13 families that established the order. The news was dominated with headlines of Donald Trump's security advisor's planned departure, who was H.R. McMaster, an absurd name, and at the same time a new property scandal involving his daughter, Ivanka Trump. Not by coincidence, this news came on McMaster's 221st day of being 55 years old, and 122 days after Ivanka Trump's 36th birthday. At the same time, let us not forget that Donald Trump became president on the 221st day of his age, January 20, 2017. Again, as mentioned, every single day news is contrived by the code, and it often pays tribute to those who are in control of the contriving, they. Of course, elections are fixed in the same manner. Coming back to May 2, or 5/2, not unlike 52, what is the 122nd day of the year in non-leap years, NWO, the common abbreviation for the New World Order, equates to 52 in ordinal gematria, corresponding with the release date of the Bible in the King's name. If you have ever read the Bible, you well know it is a book that preps the mind for the current world setting in which we live, where the reader is instructed to obey their kings, obey their government, pay their taxes, and be a good slave, among other things. Personally, these are clear signs to me that the book, as we know it, has been tampered with by the authority, who are interested in control over the masses, or from the controller's perspective, control over the goyim. Honestly, do you think God would really give instructions that it's okay to beat slaves, blackening the eye and loosening their teeth? so long as you don't kill them. This is written in the Bible, and for the people who accept it as the Word of God, I have pity. Don't get me wrong, the Bible is full of wisdom and does teach the reader how to mostly live right, but it also gives plenty of advice that is cringe-worthy, and reveals it was written by man. Beyond the things that God would clearly not write, it is the purposeful encoding we have revealed. Speaking of which, let us acknowledge how King James, in the septenary cipher, corresponds with the Gematria of 33 for Bible, Good Book, Sunday, and Believe. King James equals 33 septenary. James equals 33 reverse reduction. Let us now close with Revelation 13:16-18, about receiving the mark which codes the plan of the New World Order. As we read the verse, understand this plan is being achieved at this very moment due to gullible Goyim, already beginning to accept RFID chips, which are being promoted as a way of safekeeping their children in case they are ever kidnapped, something the fear-based media constantly reminds parents of, who mostly no longer allow their children to play outside, thanks to the work of they. In addition to parents chipping their children, some prisoners are also receiving RFID chips for tracking purposes and as a deterrent from trying to escape. Now, without further ado, the Bible verses, which are absolutely encoded with what we can refer to as the King James Code, are as follows. Revelation 13:16-18. King James Version, KJV in parentheses. 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13:16 equals 154. Reduction. S equals 10, V equals 22. Right hand equals 154 reverse ordinal. Forehead equals 154 reverse ordinal. King James equals 154 reverse ordinal. It is also interesting to note that the name King James has satanic gematria of 404, like the number of verses in Revelation, which are 404 in count. King James equals 404 satanic. And for a final point, notice how number of the beast corresponds with New World Order, who is they. Number of the beast equals 174 ordinal. New World Order equals 174 ordinal. Number of the beast equals 1074 English extended.